Good morning. Welcome back to Bookie Monsters. My name is PK. It is Friday, TGIF. We made it. It is Friday the 13th. Historically, that's not great if you're a Templar, but otherwise, it is your mindset. But the good news is it is Friday. It is going to be a very good day. Hope you had a good night. And we are here to look at the rest of, it's not comprehensive, of course. We can't look at every single book because they publish over 100 books every week. But we are going to be looking at sort of the other of things that are published this week. On Mondays, we look at cozy mysteries. On Tuesdays, we look at mysteries and thrillers. On Wednesdays, we look at romance books. On Thursdays, we look at fantasy and science fiction. And today is Freeform Friday. So we've got some nonfiction, we've got some historical fiction, and just other things that might have caught my attention. Quick announcements. I don't have any sprints tonight. I don't do them on Friday nights. I spend that time with Steve. Yes, we work together, but we do have dinner together on Friday nights, so to speak. But we do have them tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern time, and those go for 5 hours. I do those sprints 3 times a week, every Tuesday and Thursday evenings, and the Saturday afternoons. Good morning, Kim. Storming here today. Ooh, funeral is this afternoon. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll be thinking about you, sending you good vibes, loving vibes. Hi, Dream. Hello, and good morning, everyone. Good morning. How are you doing on this lovely heading into fall kind of day? All right. Had an itch. Had this one in here earlier. I should probably double check yeah, this one sounded very interesting. Nonfiction by Mark Aldridge, and the foreword is by Lucy Foley. And if you're familiar with British documentarian, she does those. I like her a lot. She does the foreword. This is Agatha Christie's Marple, expert on wickedness. Exploring a lifetime of Agatha Christie's Miss Jane Marple. So he's niching here. In Agatha Christie's Marple, expert in wickedness, agathologist Dr. Mark Aldridge looks at nearly a century of St. Mary Mead's most famous resident and uses his own detective skills to uncover new information about Miss Jane Marple's appearances on page, stage, screen, and beyond. Drawing on a range of material, some of which is newly discovered and previously unpublished, this book explores everything about Miss Marple, from her origins in a series of short stories penned by Christie to the recent best-selling HarperCollins collection, Marple, 12 New Stories. This accessible, entertaining, and illustrated guide to the world of Miss Marple pieces together the evidence in order to tell you everything you need to know about the world's favorite female detective. I'll be honest, Miss Marple is not my favorite character. I prefer Hercule Poirot. I even prefer Salome. Is it Salome? Otter, that character, as played by Agatha, as Angela Lansbury in Death on the Nile. Love that character. But perhaps reading this would get somebody to be interested, and I didn't even share the tab. Oh, sorry, I'm bad. Would maybe get somebody interested in Miss Jane Marple. Hopefully this author does one for Hercule Poirot. That would be good. I'd be reading that. Next up, another nonfiction. Einstein's Tutor, The Story of Emmy Noether and the Invention of Modern Physics by Lee Phillips. Emmy Noether's mathematical genius enabled Einstein to bring his general theory of relativity, the basis of our current theory of gravity, to fruition. On a larger scale, what came to be known as Noether's theorem, called by a Nobel laureate the single most profound result in all of physics, supplied the basis for the most accurate theory in the history of physics, the Standard Model, which forms our modern theory of matter. Nether's life is equally important and revelatory in understanding the pernicious nature of sexual prejudice in the sciences. Well, it was over 100 years ago, revealing the shocking discrimination against one of the truly intellectual giants of the 20th century, a woman effectively excluded from the opportunities given to her male counterparts. Nether's personality and optimistic spirit, as Lee Phillips reveals, enabled her unique genius to persevere and arrive at insights that still astonish those who encounter them a century later. Isn't that amazing to make a comment on our current culture that even though she had culture against her, her intellect let her still do this. She fought for it and did it. Whereas our culture today enables less than mediocrity opportunities that never bear fruition, shall we say. Hence, we have problems in medical and aviation and all that. I believe in meritocracy. There is, oh, awesome. I was hoping so. Thank you very much. Now, this one, I swore this, I've seen this cover before, but this is a new book. This is Here One Moment by Leanne Moriarty. If you knew your future, would you try to fight fate? Depends on what that future is. Aside from a delay, there will be no problems. The flight will be smooth. It will land safely. Everyone who gets on the plane will get off, but almost all of them will be forever changed. Because on this ordinary short domestic flight, something extraordinary happens. People learn how and when they're going to die. For some, their death is far in the future, age 103, and they laugh. But for 6 passengers, their predicted deaths are not far away at all. How do they know this? They are ostensibly more interesting people on the flight, the bride and groom, the jittery, possibly famous woman, the giant Hemsworth-esque guy who looks like an off-duty superhero, the frazzled, gorgeous flight attendant, but none will become as famous as the Death Lady. Not a single passenger or crew member will later recall noticing her board the plane. She wasn't exceptionally old or young, rude or polite. She wasn't drunk or nervous or pregnant. Her appearance and demeanor were unremarkable. But what she did on that flight was truly remarkable. A few months later, one passenger dies exactly as she predicted. Then 2 more passengers die again, as she said they would. Soon, no one is thinking that is simply an entertaining story at a cocktail party. If you were told you only had a certain amount of time left to live, would you do things differently? Absolutely. Would you try to dodge your destiny? Interesting. Catherine, the Wright Sister by Tracy Anderson Wood. That's a pretty cover. She helped her brothers soar, but was the flight worth the fall? It all started with 2 boys in a bicycle shop. Wilbur and Orville Wright, both unsuited to college and disinclined to leave home, jumped on the popular new fad of bicycle riding and opened a shop in Dayton, Ohio. Repairing and selling soon led to tinkering and building as the brothers offered improved models to their eager customers. Amid their success, a new dream began to take shape. Engineers across the world were puzzling over how to build a powered flying machine, and Wilbur and Orville wanted in on the challenge, but their younger sister Catherine knew they couldn't do it without her. The 3 siblings made a pact. The 3 of them would solve the problem of human flight. As her brothers obsessed over blueprints and risked life and limb testing new models on the sand beaches of North Carolina, Catherine became the mastermind behind the scenes of their inventions. She sourced materials, managed communications, and kept Wilbur and Orville focused on their goal, even when it seemed hopeless. And in 1903, the Wright brothers made the first controlled, sustained flight of humankind. It was more of a glide. What followed was the kind of fame and fortune the Wrights had never imagined. The siblings traveled the world to demonstrate their invention, trained other pilots, and built new machines that could fly higher and farther. But at the height of their success, tragedy wrenched the Wright family apart and forced Catherine to make an impossible choice that would haunt her for the rest of her life. End of row one. Once more from the top. By Emily Layden. They are comparing this to Daisy Jones and the Six, and for fans of Megan Abbott. Everyone in America knows Dylan Reed, or at least has heard her music. Since releasing her debut album her senior year of high school, Dylan's spent 15 years growing up in the public eye. She's not only perfected her skills when it comes to lyrics and melody, she's also learned how to craft a public narrative that satisfies her fans, her label, and the media. In the circles of fame and celebrity in which she now travels, the careful maintenance of Dylan Reed pop star is often more important than the songs themselves. And so lots of people think they understand everything about Dylan Reed. But what no one knows is that part of her origin story she has successfully kept hidden. Her childhood best friend Kelsey vanished the year before Dylan became famous. Now, as Dylan's at the height of her career, Kelsey's body is found at the bottom of her hometown lake, forcing Dylan to reckon with their shared past, her friend's influence on her music, and whether there's more to their story than meets the eye. I find that intriguing. I might check out what the writing is like. This next one is another nonfiction. Supremacy, AI, ChatGPT, and the Race That Will Change the World by Parmi Olson. In November of 2022, a web page was posted online with a simple text box. It was an AI chatbot called ChatGPT and was unlike any app people had used before. It was more human than a customer service agent, more convenient than a Google search. Behind the scenes, battles for control and prestige between the world's two leading AI firms, OpenAI and DeepMind, who now steers Google's AI efforts, has remained elusive until now. In Supremacy, Olson, tech writer at Bloomberg, tells the astonishing story of the battle between these two AI firms, their struggles to use their tech for good, and the hazardous direction they could go as they serve two tech Goliaths whose power is unprecedented in history. The story focuses on the continuing rivalry of two key CEOs at the center of it all, who cultivated a religion around their mission to build godlike super intelligent machines. Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, and Demis Hassabis, I apologize, I'm not familiar, the CEO of DeepMind. Supremacy sharply alerts leaders to the real threat of artificial intelligence that its top creators are ignoring, the profit-driven spread of flawed and biased technology into industries, education, media, and more. Absolutely. With exclusive access to a network of high-ranking sources, Parmi Olson uses her 13 years of experience covering technology to bring to light the exploitation of the greatest invention in human history and how it will impact us all. Back to, I think this is fiction. Yes. And it's an Oprah book club pick if you care about stuff like that. Hi, Mary. Happy Friday. Indeed. Switched to tea this morning. Tell Me Everything by Elizabeth Strout. With her remarkable insight into the human condition and silences that contain multitudes, Elizabeth Strout returns to the town of Crosby, Maine, and to her beloved cast of characters, Lucy Barton, Olive Kitteridge, Bob Burgess, and more, as they deal with a shocking crime in their midst, fall in love and yet choose to be apart, and grapple with the question, as late Lucy Barton puts it, what does anyone's life mean? It's autumn in Maine, and the town lawyer Bob Burgess has become enmeshed in an unfolding murder investigation defending a lonely, isolated man accused of killing his mother. He has also fallen into a deep and abiding friendship with the acclaimed writer Lucy Barton, who lives down the road in a house by the sea with her ex-husband, William. Together, Lucy and Bob go on walks and talk about their lives, their fears and regrets, and what might have been. Lucy, meanwhile, is finally introduced to the iconic Olive Kitteridge, now living in a retirement community on the edge of town. They spend afternoons together in Olive's apartment, telling each other stories about people they have known, unrecorded lives, Olive calls them, reanimating them, and in the process, imbuing their lives with meaning. The Borrowed Life of Frederick Fife by Anna Johnston. Frederick Fife was born with an extra helping of kindness in his heart. If he borrowed your car, he'd return it washed with a full tank of gas. The problem is there's nobody left in Fred's life to borrow from. At 82, he's desperately lonely, broke, and on the brink of homelessness. But Fred's luck changes when, in a bizarre case of mistaken identity, he takes the place of grumpy Bernard Greer at the local nursing home. Now he has warm meals in his belly and a roof over his head, as long as his poker face is in better shape than his prostrate, and that his look-alike never turns up. There'd be issues like blood types and stuff. Denise Sims is stuck breathing the same disappointing air again and again. A middle-aged mom and caregiver at Bernard's facility, her crumbling marriage and daughter's health concerns are suffocating her joy for life. Wounded by her two-faced husband, she vows never to let a man deceive her again. Oops. As Fred walks into Bernard's shoes, he leaves a trail of kindness behind him, fueling Denise's suspicions about his true identity. When unexpected truths are revealed, Fred and Denise rediscover their sense of purpose and learn how to return a broken life to mint condition. End of row 2. The Extinction of Experience. Being Human in a Disembodied World. This is nonfiction by Christine Rosen. We embrace the mediated life, from Facetune and Venmo to meme culture and the metaverse, because these technologies offer novelty and convenience, but they also transform our sense of self and warp the boundaries between virtual and real. What are the costs? Who are we in a disembodied world? In this book, the author investigates the cultural and emotional shifts that accompany our embrace of technology. In warm, philosophical prose, Rosen reveals key human experiences at risk of going extinct, including face-to-face communication, sense of place, authentic emotion, and even boredom. Considering cultural trends like TikTok challenges and I don't know what that word is, or what it is, and politically unsettling phenomena like sociometric trackers and online conspiracy culture, Rosen exposes an unprecedented shift in the human condition, one that habituates us to alienation and control. To recover our humanity and come back to the real world, we must reclaim serendipity, community, patience, and risk. I'm also interested in this one. There is a thing called human design that is like astrology, 3D astrology. It combines both astrology and the Kabbalah and the I Ching and all kinds of things. And its founder was given this information, shall we say, and it indicated that there was going to be a profound change to humans in 2027, and this person was given this information, I think, in the 80s. So we're coming up on that, and it makes you wonder things that have been in play in the last few years are definitely not only our culture, but also the physical changing of the DNA from things that happened in the last 4 years. Also, the quote unquote food that we eat has probably done changes. So I find stuff like this very, very interesting. Historical. Going out to lunch with a friend today. Oh, nice. Going to see her artwork in a new show. Oh, wow. She's very talented and in many areas a potter, painter, interior designer. Could go, but you get the idea. Oh, yeah. You should take a picture and put it on Facebook. Inquiring minds want to know. The Paris Understudy by Uriel Thiel. 1938, Paris opera legend Madeleine Moreau must keep newcomer Yvonne Chevalier, whose talent she fears, off the stage. As the long-standing star of the opera, she is nowhere near ready to give up her spotlight. The perfect solution: enlist Yvonne as her understudy so she can never be upstaged. When Madeline is invited to headline at Germany's preeminent opera festival, she is sure this will cement her legacy. But war is looming, and when she learns that Adolf Hitler himself will be in attendance, she knows she's made a grave error. As Madeline makes a hurried escape back to France, Yvonne finds herself unexpectedly thrown into the limelight on the German stage. When a newspaper photograph shows Hitler seemingly enraptured by Yvonne, Yvonne's life is upended. While she is trying frantically to repair her reputation at home, Yvonne's son is captured and held as a prisoner of war. Desperate to free her son, she makes an impossible choice: turn to the enemy. As the Nazis invade Paris, both women must decide what they are willing to do in pursuit of their art. They form an unlikely alliance, using their fame to protect themselves and the people they love from the maelstrom of history. Except this is written from our point of view in history, so I'm afraid that they're putting what we know about Hitler onto people who did not know what Hitler was like then. In fact, back then Hitler was a very good guy who was going to save their economy. But that's just me. Absolutely, the earth is changing so quickly, and so are humans. The Woman Behind the Door by Roddy Doyle. At 66, Paula Spencer, mother, grandmother, widow, addict, survivor, has finally started to live her life. She has a job at the dry cleaners she enjoys. Her boyfriend Joe is a text away when she needs him, and her 4 children now have the healthy families and petty dramas that Paula could have only hoped for. Despite its ghosts, Paula has started to push her past aside. That is, until her eldest, Nicola, turns up on her doorstep one day. Nicola is everything Paula wasn't: independent, affluent, a loving wife and mother, a success, but now she is suddenly determined to leave it all behind. She has left her family and come to stay. As Nicola gradually confides in Paula the secrets that unleash this moment of crisis, mother and daughter must untangle past memory, trauma, and revelations to confront what they mean to each other and who they want to be. We have run out of time, but the other ones here are Double Exposure by Alyssa R. Sloan, Going to Maine by Sally Chapin. This one, it was a nonfiction. Brooks. This was by Doing the Appalachian Trail Walk. Book Lovers Library by Madeline Martin. That is fiction during World War II. The Final Hours of Muriel Hinchcliffe, MBE by Claire Parkin, and Nightmare of a Trip by Maureen Kilmer. All right, that is all we have time for. Even today, I've got like 3 I want to be checking out further, so it's been a good week. Plus the one I bought yesterday. There's been a lot this week. There's always a lot every week. I have to tell the truth. That's why I do this. I'm looking for books, and nobody else is doing it, so I will look at it. Thanks. The bell has rung. Have a great day and weekend. You too. Have a good lunch. Kim, have a good day, y'all. You too. Well, again, I don't have any sprints tonight. I don't do them on Friday nights. We'll have them tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern. They will go for 5 hours. Next week, we'll be looking at all the new releases that are being published next week, genre by genre. Have a very good Friday the 13th. Have a good weekend if I don't see you. And as the banner says, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom nom. Have a good day and God bless.